And welcome back to Shining Force. Last time we fought a battle at the underground reef in Warrel, and then we headed off on a boat and immediately got attacked, and our boat was adrift and now in a random place near Dragonia, which is undertook by Runefaust. So we have to go rescue a baby dragon, which is pretty awesome. But it's going to be so tough to decide which party member you replace. Oh wait, I wanted to make a copy of the file. Oh, actually I cannot. I haven't had time to check the previous files yet, and this game does not have very many save slots. I actually thought it had 4. Apparently it has 3. So archival saves are kind of difficult to do here. Oh, it's going to be really tough to decide. Hey, kid, are you done yet? How is he? Again, maybe we should recruit that kid. He seems really strong. We are, it's been a while since we were on a big old outdoor map. We've been in a few, like, you know, like on the boat and then in the underground temple. We're back to sort of the more common outdoorsy one. These Guardiana fools must be stopped. Kane's mission is vital. Attack! Man, that guy must be pretty high ranking if you can call Kane just by name without his title. Ben, you must quickly break through to Dragonia. Well, Nova, I hate to tell you this, but we're not going to quickly break through because, once again, the map is covered in terrain that slows us down. Look at all these mountains. It's going to be painful. So we have some new enemies. The High Priest. This is just the upgraded Dark Priest. They have heal 4. So, high range, strong heal. They're not dangerous in a battle, they heal other people, basically, which makes them more dangerous. Another Master Mage, we saw one last time, and this fellow, Durahan, which, I guess he's like the upgraded lizard folk guy. He's basically just a really strong melee dude. I don't know what he is exactly. I think he's almost like a golem, you know, like a living statue. And we've got some artilleries. You'll notice that a lot of enemies are starting to have, accessories now as well, like those shield rings. Basically, we're now powerful enough that these enemies would not be as much of a challenge, so they're giving them accessories to beef up their stats a little, make them a little tougher. And we've got 3 artilleries here. So again, there are not very many enemies on this map. Look at that, there's not very many. Most of them are way far away over on the other end. It's gonna take forever anyway. Oh, and there's also this whole part of the map down here, which we're not even going on. Yeah. So once again, it looks really nice. Like, these graphics hold up in my opinion. I think the way the mountains and the foothills and little trees look, all very nice to look at. The sprite work is good, but as a battle map, it's not necessary. Well designed as a field map, you know, it looks cool to wander around on. Not that well designed as a spot for a battle. Which, this game really has some variation in the quality of the maps overall, as I've said in the past. You get some maps that are cool little fights, you have some that they're okay, like the boat maps, it's like they're a little boring, but they're fine, and then you get some like this where it's just like, oh boy, this is gonna be frustrating. We do have 4 different flying characters in the party now, which will definitely help, since they ignore terrain, and Xylo also is not affected by terrain. So at least as we go on in the game and get more characters who ignore these effects, it's less annoying, but it is still annoying. It's the fact that it slows you down. It's like it doesn't make the map more interesting or tactical. It just makes it take longer. Because aside from the fact this terrain slows us, basically this is just a big empty area to walk across. There's nothing to it. So it's a little bit of a bummer. Alright, let's start off strong with Domingo. He's so useful. The flying really helps. He ignores all this terrain garbage. So much HP, so much defense, so much MP, so strong. He's so good. Oh, excellent. Result 3. And he got a ton of MP in that. He has so much. He is one of the few mages we have that will be able to actually cast the high-level spells multiple times over the course of a battle. They cost a lot of MP. You know, we're only up to level 3 now, and Blaze level 3, which is a little weaker, costs 8. We can't cast it that much. Domingo has enough MP to actually repeatedly cast it. he's just so good. He definitely, I think, was made broken on purpose. Because otherwise, how would you accidentally make him that much better than the other characters? Yeah, in my cursory Googling about the mechanics of this game, I did learn that these different terrain features, they do, like the trees and mountains and stuff, they do actually boost both your evasion and your defenses. And that just makes these battles take even longer. So, yeah. This map is also not really a good one for grinding because it would just, there's not that many enemies and it would take forever to walk across, so not yet. I'll probably, maybe I'll grind Ernest and the rest of our party that we haven't been using. You know, we've gone up like 4 or 5 levels per person now, so they're a little behind too. I'll grind once we get Blue, because he's gonna be a ton of grinding. And I'll, you know, do that off screen, off camera rather, because, you know, you don't want to just sit and watch me grind battles. There's just not enough to this. Like, it's fun to play and all, it's engaging, but I don't think it's complex enough to be super interesting to watch someone fight the same battle over and over again. And there's just only so much for me to say about the game, you know? Like, we are now getting, I had a fairly good memory of a lot of the stuff that happened earlier in the game. We're now getting into the back half of the game where there's bits and pieces I remember. Like, I remember recruiting the dragon. So I played through this part of the game. Like, I had the dragon in my party, but I just don't remember it super well. So we'll all learn about it together, friends. Like, I remember using the dragon in battle and thinking it was really cool, but I actually don't remember anything but the battle where you get him, or anything. So I am just as much in suspense as you about what exactly is in that town. Oh, reinforcements again. So I guess, is this going to be a standard thing now? Okay, I will say, this has actually improved my opinion of the battle. I don't know whether these were based on the turn, like after a certain number of turns they appear, or whether it's because we got past a certain spot, like when you reach the spot, suddenly they appear. But look how much more interesting this made the battle. Before, if you see the little white square on the minimap, that's where my cursor is, there were just some enemies, like, here. And then the rest were at the far end of the map. But now, we're halfway to the boss, and suddenly it's like, bam, a bunch more enemies appear. That adds just... It's still not a super interesting map design because, again, there's not like a lot of terrain features that, you know, they're just there and you have to walk over them. There's not a lot that you would use very strategically, but it adds a little more engagement to the battle, and it's not going to just be a boring us walking. This is actually going to be like, oh, we gotta stop these guys now. And the mages are actually at least a bit dangerous, so it's like, oh, sudden enemies appeared. We gotta take care of them right away. This also, I think, shows the... Also, check out how strong Priest 3 is. It's really good. This shows the utility of having multiple flying characters, because if these enemies, regardless of whether they're triggered by location, oh dang, our dudes were, those guys are fast too. I didn't know they were going to appear, so it's like we didn't have time to move our forces into a better formation. So this is a very tough party battle. Which, like, in a way is a little bullshit, because you have no way of knowing it's coming, and it's random, and it's like, oh, now this happened, and I didn't know it was going to, but at least it's more exciting than just walking in a line. I think one of my bird dudes is gonna die here. Oh man, they both critically hit. That kinda sucks. But yeah, Amon's gonna not survive this. She got hit by both mages. You can see why like I've been saying like the whole game, you gotta prioritize killing the mages and stuff. They're pretty darn dangerous. Oh man, Valbara's gonna get taken out too. Also the benefit of high HP, he survived. But yeah, if you get attacked by multiple mages in a row, there's just nothing you can do. You're not gonna live it. And we only had one unit move before they went, so there's nothing we could do. You can also see, as I was saying, the benefit of multiple flying characters, because otherwise, our other units just can't maneuver well here. They're going to have a lot of trouble getting into a position where they can actually do anything useful. Look how far behind they are. Whereas our flying characters can actually make an impact and help us kill these dangerous mages. I do think it's kind of bullshit that they put 3 mages who are fast enough. Like, Domingo's quite fast, so the mages are obviously fast enough that you're probably not going to get turned before them, so it's like they randomly appear, there's no hint that they're going to, and then they can just shred who's ever in the front of your army. Because there's no magic resistance among our fighters here, that's not like a stat we can raise. So it is slightly bullshit that it's like, surprise, you're gonna die now, but it made the map a lot less boring. and made there be a point to how long it is. Although there's still nothing down at the bottom part, so... yeah, I'm just prioritizing these mages, because again, getting hit, like, you may survive an attack from one of the mages, they'll do a lot, but you could live. Once you get hit by 2 or 3 mages, you just take so much damage that most of our fighters just do not have enough HP to survive it at all. This is the only enemy she can get in range of, so. The forest and stuff kind of make it more annoying, because it's like, if you're not using all of the characters who either fly or have, like, Xylo, just ignore a lot of the terrain penalties a lot, then you're basically going to be taking multiple hits from multiple mages multiple times, because you're just not going to be able to get there fast enough to actually kill them, because the maneuverability. We, fortunately, had a lot of, our chaps. There we go. We took a lot of damage in that fight, but whoa, we got a lot of coins too. Well, that's good, because we're gonna have to pay to resurrect everyone. Oh, that was... oh, we got a lot of people knocked out. But we've dealt with the crisis. Just thinking... because I could, you know, egress out and, fight him, like, bring everyone back, but then I'm also like, I don't know whether the mages are triggered by location or by number of turns that have passed, so I'm like, realistically, they would probably still kill some of my dudes just because it would be very difficult for us to kill. Like, that's the thing, is even knowing it's coming, it would be very hard to actually be able to get everyone in a position where we could kill them fast enough not to get attacked by multiple of them, because of the terrain penalties here and just how severely they impact most of our characters. Not all of them. We have good eggs like Domingo, but most of them. Like, look at Henri. She's still not in a position where she can do anything useful against those enemies. And our healer's falling behind. It's, Gun seems to actually ignore terrain penalties as well, now that I'm observing him on the forest. We haven't really had him in a forest battle yet, I don't think. So maybe that's like, he has low move, but he's not that affected by terrain, so it's kind of a trade-off. I'm not sure, but that could be the case. But yeah, I'm thinking I won't bother restarting, mostly because, due to just how much the terrain limits our movement, I don't think I could, like, ooh, more dudes appearing. That's kind of cool. Golems are new also. Man, there's a ton of them. So let's check them out. Basically, they're just really strong. They have tons of defense, too, so they'll be quite tough to kill. Oh, we don't have enough MP. I used a lot of it up on the mages. What a bummer. Man. Well, Freeze 3 does have 10, so even Domingo can only cast it 4 times. But it's incredible that he can cast it 4 times. Man, if he had enough for Freeze 3, he could probably cast it, and he could probably kill those guys in 1 hit. Because they don't have a lot of HP. They just have a ton of defense. Yeah, see, we barely did anything. But except for Domingo, it's gonna take 1,000 years for our mages to get here. So, the periodic reinforcements was kind of cool, but the position of these enemies is a little more lame because they're definitely threatening, so it's not like it's a boring part of the battle, but it's also like, yeah, they just have super high defense, but all but one mage are melee characters who are severely restricted by terrain, so hope you like waiting. It's not like, oh, we can prep for that or anything, it's just like, well, here we are. Maybe I'll egress out res everyone and like, because then I could like get the mages up a little further before we do anything. Or conserve Domingo's MP a little more aggressively. He has such good defenses. This is definitely a more interesting battle than a lot of the other big open field ones, though. The design is a lot more compelling. Although it's still not, like, super strategic, because again, having a part in the battle where just, like, suddenly a whole bunch of dudes appear and you gotta fight them unexpectedly, and also they have super high defenses, so you're not gonna kill them quickly and they can overwhelm you. It's like, it's definitely challenging, it's difficult, but, you know, it's like, well, there's nothing we can really do about that, so it doesn't feel that strategic is my main complaint. Because, you know, that's my feelings, that it's like, I play a strategy game because I want to be challenged in a way where it's like, oh, if I come up with the best strategy, I can get around this. This kind of feels like, I guess I could try to get the mages up further, but it would take so long because the terrain penalties are so high. So it's kind of like, eh. The golem is a cool enemy though. And they can, oh yeah, the thing is we're also on terrain that boosts evasion, right? So it's like, oh boy. This sure is gonna be an interesting fight. I think you can't dodge magic, so I'm assuming the idea here is that these are enemies you have to kill with your mages, but again, because of the terrain, it's quite difficult to actually do that. I'm just gonna use Blaze too because I want to conserve her MP a little. It's like, it took so long to get her in range of even one of them. And we're using all of the mages and they're at pretty high levels. So it's not like, you know, we've been neglecting the magic part of our party, it's just the positioning. You know, there's not a whole lot we can... I guess we could, like, keep everyone else back and just really crawl forward super slowly, but that would be so boring. That would not be a very compelling design for this battle. So, like, I like the concept here, but there are some flaws in the execution that let it. I'm just gonna use his medical herb. Oh, why doesn't... this is the second time this has happened. Why does the cursor not default to you, the person using it? Why does it default to the person next to you? I clicked A without thinking about it because I just forgot that it didn't default to him. I thought it would because that makes the most sense to me. And it's like, it's kind of tough to get them everyone in a position where they can attack because, again, the movement is so restricted that you're shuffling around a very small space and you can't... Like, you might not even be able to move enough to get adjacent to one of these enemies, even if you're very close. So, this is kind of a boring part of this battle because of that. But again, this is really showing why having keeping a lot of flyers in the party is really good, because they're the only ones who can actually get into worthwhile positions here. The evasion still sucks, but like, he could actually make the attack where most of our units are having trouble getting into position. All the things where it's like, I could have my unit attack, but they can only move 2 spaces so they can't get close enough, like, I just find it annoying rather than strategic. It's just boring as hell. It's like, oh, I guess I'll just keep trying to get people closer. I do like, you know, a map where just repeated ambushes as a component is cool. It's like an interesting way to design the map as you go across it, but fighting these things is kind of tedious, and like, it's tough, but not in a way that I'm like, oh, I'm really coming up with a lot of strategy. It's just like, well, I guess I'll keep doing this. I don't think he'll do a ton of damage or anything, but I think he might have... Yeah, I think that first evade might have been because he didn't quite do... He did like 0 damage. Hopefully Chris will get a turn before Ben dies. I'm hoping we can finish this out without, like... Maybe I'll just restart. It would be a little... That's the thing, is that it's like, the battle is not... like, we still have to fight those other guys too. The battle's not fun enough if we want to redo it. Honestly, with the reinforcements, there's a lot of enemies in this map, and it puts a strain on your MP, particularly because, again, Xylo's fucking dying also because I misclicked on that medical herb. I meant to have him use it on himself, and it didn't happen. Why does the cursor not default to you? Maybe I'll just restart. You know, losing 2 fighters also really hurts your damage output, especially the flyers who could actually do something here. This is taking a really long time. This battle, once you have all the reinforcements, it does actually have a lot of enemies, much more than it appeared at first, but I'll just have him go up here. like, because there's so many, it's also like a bit of a resource drain. I did feel like I kind of had to go all out with magic. She still hasn't been able to do anything because she just can't move far enough to get in position. This is what I'm talking about with like this movement slowing, making the battle kind of boring, because there's a lot of just like, I can't do anything, I'll wait, I can't do anything, I'll wait, which, and like it's not like something you could have planned ahead for. It's just like, well, if she's moving like 2 squares, she just, you know, she can't really get here that easily. The rest of us have to finish this battle. But having to move across the mountains makes the battle very boring, and it takes so long. Guns is definitely real helping this battle because he's stronger than the others and he doesn't seem bothered by the terrain. Oh, we're making a little progress. Man, Domingo is really tanky. He's not even doing that much, but everyone's doing so little that it's like 1 more point could matter, potentially. So, and he's out of MP, so what else am I gonna do, you know? See, again, she can't get in position because she just, if she could move 1 more square, she could, but like, you just can't, so much of the battle is like, let's wait. I like the ambush, like, design, but having everything covered in this mountain terrain just makes, it just always makes battles more frustrating. These enemies are also, they're so resistant to physical stuff, but because magic is fixed to damage, it's not like they're taking more damage from magic to like make up for that. And oh, I meant to click heal on her and then I did not. I'm very used to Fire Emblem where if you can do an action like heal or attack, the cursor defaults to it. So I just like, I cannot get used to having to manually move it off of weight every time. All the battles to terrain, I personally just find frustrating because it takes so long to do something. If this was like on terrain where we could move around, I think it's more exciting. So it'd be like, trying to defeat them all before they can defeat you, as opposed to like, let's move you another 2 squares. I'm gonna egress to end. Let's try this one again. Bring everyone back. We're pretty beat up. And like, now that we know about the ambush, I think that I'm fine with the ambush mechanic kind of because it's so easy to leave and come back to the battle, and it's really easy to res people. So it's like, oh, it's a surprise, but then it's like, now I know about it, so I'll try and plan for it. So I think that works as a tactical thing. I just wish the movement restrictions are what annoys me in all of these. All the battles with restricted movement, I just find so frustrating. Ugh, they really bother me. Okay, so I still don't know whether the enemies appear based on number of turns or proximity, but it kind of felt like proximity because they all appeared right in front of us, you know? So it felt like we reached a certain spot on the map. Oh, interesting, when we restart the map, they're all there to start. That's really, I didn't realize that's how this game worked because I guess we haven't run across that mechanic yet. And in other games I have played where there's surprise reinforcements and stuff, they don't do that. Yeah, so now everyone's just on the map to start. That's interesting. I wonder if they'll move from their starting positions. In a way, it kind of makes it harder because these guys could potentially like, move ahead of time and stuff, you know? But, that's really interesting. I guess it's like, it's not a surprise the second time, but it does kind of change the flow of the battle. Since you're not waiting for them to appear, you're approaching into them. Because that's the thing too, is last time we got to that location, they appeared, and then we had to wait to act again. Whereas here, we can kind of, you know, it's obviously because of the intense movement restrictions, it's still really hard for us to do anything with that, but at least our flying units can kind of all just dash in and kind of try and blitz down, and Xylo also, and Guns a bit too, because of his, ignoring movement penalties, just kind of like blitz down the mages as fast as possible. It's also possible they won't move until we reach their designated areas. The map looks, I will say, look how much more reasonable this looks with the number of enemies. It's like, okay, the entire bottom half of the map is still pointless, but okay, it's aesthetic, whatever. The real battle is in the top half, and it's nicely filled with enemies. There is actually a reason for it to be as wide as it is. I'm a little more content, but all the battles with movement restrictions just make me just mad, because It's because of how slow it is. I honestly preferred like that one battle we did against Balbazek in the harbor, where it's like there was a swarm of like tough enemies right away, but it felt kind of like, you know, the battle just went a little faster, so it felt a little more exciting. You know, it's like we gotta fight this guy, we're sending people in different directions. Whereas this is, so much of it is like, I want to attack with this way, but I can only move 2 spaces, so I can't, which just feels annoying. I'm not into movement restriction that much. Like, I think it can work as a mechanic, but I gotta save the wizards a little because we're gonna later, so we can't waste them on these artillery. Especially since the artillery aren't that tanky anymore, so it's not like we have to take them out with magic. But yeah, like movement restriction terrain I think can definitely work, especially when you have a variety of classes, like, you know, in this game, so that you can penalize some classes more than others as part of game balance. But I think that this game tends to just way overuse it in maps to the point that it feels like the map is designed more for aesthetics and sort of ignoring the gameplay impact. Because it looks nice, for sure. It's very beautifully designed, it's just not fun. And to me, I definitely would say I tend to prize the mechanics a little more over the aesthetics. Like, I like the map to look nice, obviously. You know, if you... Especially, like, a bland design is one thing, but if you have a design that's just, like, glaring to look at or, like, ugly, it's gonna bother you. But it needs to be fun to play on. This is a game. So I'm definitely a little, sort of form over function there. Very good. Okay, so we got the artillery. And it looks like the worm enemies are actually approaching us, so maybe we can, like, have them get here and then kind of attack them first, sort of whittle them down before we hit up the mages. I think the archers may ignore some of the penalties for mountains, or for forests rather. They don't for mountains. I wish the AI was a little more deterministic, I guess. Sometimes it doesn't move when, like, it doesn't always move to attack you when you're in range, and, like, being able to predict what the AI will do makes it a little easier to plan your strategy. Because, you know, you're, like, taking it into account, whereas if there's more randomness, you can't plan for it. Can she? Yeah, she can... she's in danger from the mage, but not the other 2 mages. Getting hit by multiple mages is the main problem now. Like, we can survive 1 attack, but we cannot survive 3, so... I think Xyla may actually be in range of both mages here, but... You know... At times... Oh, darn, we were so close there. Times when you gotta take a risk. Oh, if only he'd gotten this level first, he would have killed the mage! The worms, I think, may also ignore terrain penalties. I guess the idea is they're, like, traveling through the ground, so it doesn't matter. Guns will get there eventually, and the mages will also get there eventually. That is the way that they will get there. I'm thinking I should change my mic setup a little here, because if you're noticing that there are changes, A, in the volume, but also in the level of echo, I guess, or how clear my voice is, it's because I don't have, like, the setup I have, like I have already mentioned, is kind of janky. I just have everything kind of stacked up in my dresser, so I don't have, like, you know, one of those things that lets you, like, have the mic hanging right over your face, you know, one of those arm attachments or anything like that, or any equipment that, like, helps you account for these variations. So I'm basically just, like, sitting on a storage chair in front of a dresser with everything stacked up on it. So anytime I, like, lean backwards, the sound changes versus I'm leaning forward. I don't have, like, a proper setup where there's a consistent distance. Soz. I want to save his MP. We're gonna need it more later. We're getting into the danger zone here. Danger, danger. Galore does not have a lot of HP. Okay, hopefully he'll be able to move again before the other mage, because if he gets attacked by both, he will. Oh, he's done. No, actually, this guy attacked Xylo for some reason. This is where I don't always get the AI. Because he could have killed Balboroid. But instead he attacked Xylo. I don't know why. Actually, I'm going to have Xylo attack this mage because this mage is harder for the rest of our guys to get to. He is farther away. And Xylo can actually get there. Very good. Hopefully one of our flyers will be able to make their way over there. She can't do anything. See, it's just... This is the issue, because our melee dudes just are kind of not useful here. They just can't get here fast enough to make an impact, so we really have to rely on our flyers. Luckily we have them. But it's definitely making the melees less useful. Hopefully we'll be able to kill the other guy too. Oh, this is not good. But at least now that there's just one, if we can get Balboroid out of there, he's definitely less dangerous alone, because it's when you have multiple attacking, as I've said, that then the damage really adds up. Man, Kokichi is falling behind a little here. His attack is not that good. Oh, interesting. So the golems will approach now. You know, before they only appeared out of ambush, so I wasn't sure whether they would just sit there waiting. Hopefully we'll get at least one more person attacking. The ambush mechanic was kind of cool, but having them on the map honestly actually does feel more strategic, because it's like, you know, you see where the enemies are and you're kind of planning for those ones that are incoming. I could keep an eye on this one. It feels a little more active. But it was kind of fun having the ambush first and then having to go back and do it again, you know, now that we know where they are. In this game, it's so easy to retry levels that I do think that's a legitimate mechanic. Okay, we got rid of the mages. That was pretty good. That went well. Before, when they appeared suddenly, we just were definitely not prepared. Like, I didn't know they were going to, so I didn't have anyone in a position where we could actually attack. And then all three of them got a turn before, you know, Domingo was the only one who got a turn, and then all three of them went, so they just wrecked us. Having them on the map ahead of time definitely let us plan around that a little more and put us in a position where we could focus fire them down pretty well. The next challenge is these golems. We've been saving our MP for them. Not quite there yet, though. The golems also seem to be ignoring terrain. Can I have her go back and just take care of this worm before we move on? Oh, she's also getting a bit high in level to the point where I'm like, my party is getting all uneven. But again, this is not the map I want to grind on, because the pack of mages and then the pack of golems are all really dangerous enemies, so they're definitely not very good for like trying to get our squishies up. Not a good map for grinding, and also the TDM of how long it takes to move. I don't know why they keep attacking Domingo. He has like the most HP and the most defense. This seems silly. I know he is the mage, but that doesn't actually make him the most vulnerable. Oh, I guess heal Balboroid. We've got quite a couple of people hurt here, but heal him. Balboroid only has 20 HP, so he's a little fragile. He gets beat up a lot. But he's so useful, because he can just get into any position and attack, ignoring terrain. The movement penalties still do, like, they are really annoying, but this is a little more strategic, I would say. Now that the ambush mechanic was definitely like a fun, it was kind of like exciting. It's like, whoa, what's going on? But it kind of took the strategy aspect down, because it's just like, well, these guys are here and you can't do anything, you couldn't plan for it. Whereas now it's like, okay, we can sort of control which characters are going where and how quickly we're approaching. These guys are in like the perfect position for a spell also. I really hope one of the mages will be able to get there. Kokichi, your attack has not gone up as much as my other spear users. But like, we're gonna have to wait till he promotes to C, I guess, because maybe he just fell below the average somehow. Apparently your stats just are set to what they should be when you promote. Trying to have Ben stay in the game here, he's falling behind a little. We're going to be doing promotions at level 20, so we have a few characters that are approaching that. They're not there yet, but, you know, with time. The Elven Arrow having free range is really nice. Much more convenient. Can get attacks against enemies much easier. And basically, since she gives you a whole extra attack is the way to look at it, I'd say. We can't get all of them in, but we sure can get a lot of them. I'm going to use these three, I think. Because basically you could have an enemy surrounded on it's 4 sides by our melee peeps. Then you can get more people as the range, and then she's an entire extra attacker since she has 3 range. Very good, Domingo. Very good. He's so great. He's wonderful. Still have a ton of these golems. This guy's close to death. So Xylo will only do like 2 damage, but at least someone else can kill him then. Oh yeah, he got that boost of attack in that last level. He can do it now. Nice. Xylo sure gets strong. He's really good. Who else needed the heal? Someone else got banged up. Well, I guess Xylo, but we're not close enough to him because, again, movement restrictions. So fun. I'll just have her tuck in here and attack. I'm hoping to get another mage up there. And then I conserved my MP a lot more this time. Before, because the mages took us by surprise, we just had to, like, really rush it and just try to kill them as fast as we could with our biggest spells. But this time I'm saving a little more for the end. The movement speed still really annoys me, but this is going a bit more strategically at least. I'm just like, I want to heal, but my healer can only move 2 spaces. It's like my characters who either can't fly or can't ignore the terrain are just being so useless in this battle, which is just such a bummer. Because again, I took all of the characters, at least all the ones I know of, who have those properties. See, they can't do anything, and there's nothing we can do to change that. I guess I could have taken Hans too, but, you know, having extra mages, I think, is going to be more useful if we can get them into the right position for the final bit. We've almost finished taking out the golems, we're all alive. We've only managed to use 1 spell so far. We haven't done, or no, I attacked, I think somebody, was it Domingo? I want to say it was Domingo. Cast another spell at the beginning, I want to say. Maybe I'm forgetting. Somebody did, I thought, but maybe that was last time. But anyway, we finished off these golems, that was good. Alright, we're getting into the 3rd phase of the battle. Maybe there's reinforcements again, I actually don't know. We've seen 2 sets so far, but there could be more. This is going pretty smooth though. I'm gonna have Xylo stay here just so Chris can actually heal him. Oh, I guess we have to kind of take it slow and steady here so the mages can keep up. This is gonna take a while, friends. So, have patience. See, this is where, again, now I'm like... I was, like, really engaged while I was, like, figuring out how to manage, okay, how to get everyone in position and take the golems down and making sure the mages are taken out before they can attack us, focus firing. That was all engaging and strategic. Now I'm like, now we're walking in a line, and it's gonna take so long. This is the part of the battle where I'm a little bored. I guess now that I think about it, because the game, you know, the Genesis collection has quick saves and stuff, if I wanted, I could essentially make a save state if I'm just like right here. I won't though, because I think we can beat it without that. But if we ever get into a battle that's really annoying, we can always do that. This battle is really slow. It was fun while we were doing things. Now it's not. I feel like when we go into the town, because unless Runefaust is, by Runefaust attacking the town, they meant Runefaust was like outside the town. I thought maybe we'd have a battle actually in the town, but maybe after this we actually will go directly into the town and the battle will be done. I don't know if instead of that we have a battle like in the streets or something to save Blue. That's what I was kind of picturing, but I don't remember what it is. Domingo should be able to get into quite a good position pretty soon. I think we're just gonna have to give up on certain of our characters contributing this battle, because look at this. Look at this. They just, and in order to get them in position, we would also have to expose them to enemy attacks. You know, as they were creeping forward, they'd be in range. Oh. Battles with the mountain terrain suck. They're terrible. Oh, I meant to overtake the other one, but I was so annoyed that I wasn't really looking. was not checking where the cursor defaulted. I think you can go over the town tiles as well, or maybe there's a wall there. We'll find out, I guess. Oh, nice. A little progress. We're getting a lot of empty levels here. I think that for a lot of these characters, they must have that one, like, X curve I mentioned where it's quadratic, so at first you go quickly, then it levels off. We must be into the level off part. Very good, Kokichi. If only your strength wasn't so low, you could actually have killed him, but worry not. Friend Domingo is here to help. That's what we want. I know, it's like, oh, see, this guy is really interesting. He's like a living suit of armor, I guess. I thought he was a living statue, but I guess it's more like a suit of armor. It's a really unique monster. Dang, so much damage. I know I could have gotten healer in there too, but I just wanted to, I really figured I could, and we make it a turn for the hero, so I figured we could kind of take them all out. Oh, actually, the Dullahan was the captain, right? So, or no, he's not dead yet. Close, but not quite. I don't think the X from that one healer is gonna make or break it here. Let's just try and wrap this up. Oh, he's really tanky. He couldn't quite wrap it up, but... Who is next? Well, at least May was helpful at the first part of the battle when we fought the artillery and stuff, but then she got stuck in the mountains and couldn't get forward. Like, look how much of that battle was done solely by this part of the team. The others just... I like that he called us the Shining Fools. It's like clever and childish. Shining Force, more like Shining Fools. That's delightful. That was his death insult. That's as good as it could get. Ben, you must stop Kane before he finds the manual of the seal. Onward. So, like, I liked aspects of that battle, but the movement restrictions made it suck because, look, these guys just never... Chris was useful for healing because we got hit by quite a few people, but we had to hold them back to even get her close enough to heal them. And then these two mages just never got to do anything because they just never caught up. And then May was only useful in that first fight against the artillery and we just couldn't get them there in time. So these, and I know it's like, but look how many characters were useful. But that's because I stacked my army with characters that could fly or ignore terrain. And they were so much more useful than the others. And like, I'm to some degree fine with, you know, having some battles certain of your army is really useful, then in other battles some other part of the army is really useful to balance it out. But in this game, it doesn't feel intentional like that. It just has these giant maps where a lot of your potential army members are just going to be really, really slow. So it just, I think it punishes you too much for using them in a way. I realize, and the thing is, it's not like, the problem is that these characters are just as good on all the other maps. They have higher movement than the other characters anyway. They can ignore obstacles. Guns does not have higher movement, obviously. He's a little more balanced because on kind of the flat terrain maps, he's at a disadvantage, but on this map, he's at an advantage. But for the others, they're really good all the time. So it sort of makes your regular melee characters a little too shitty in comparison. Okay, so we're not right into a battle, we're in a town. It's a town on the cliffs, apparently. Although the battle music still seems to be playing, so I assume like we're gonna walk into a battle towards the top of the town. So that guy, wait, let me take this guy again. He's not actually selling anything, but he also said, "Welcome to my humble shop." So is he like the manager and he's just really micromanaging that guy? I'm trying to very carefully explore so we don't trigger the battle until I get to take a peek at things. Maybe it'll be in there. That building looks important. I want to at least explore a little first, you know? Huh. Weird. I like it. Nothing is unusual. It's like, Ben, there's a lot of unusual things in this house. Dragon's mission, to protect the manual of the seal from evil. I want to know what some of these things are. I assume this is like a little bed for a dragon. I don't know what the hole in the ground is for. Maybe that's the bed. But Ben sees nothing unusual about any of this. It's this guy again. How do you always get to this place? Where are all the dragons? That's a good question. I don't know whether blue is like the last of his kind or something. I have a feeling this broadsword is going to be another item we can't equip until, yeah, we're going to have to promote before we can equip it. It'll be really good when we do, though. Like, I think we are in this, though strong, but we also, that's not very grammatical. It should either be we're strong, but we also have weak points, or though strong, we also have weak points. One of their weak points is that they're not very good at formal writing. Our numbers decrease no more. Ah, so blue is the last because they just like... I guess they're like, they grow up so slowly that like their rate of reproduction was really slow. There's actually animal species in real life that are like that, where they breed relatively slowly and they also grow relatively slowly. So if they're, like certain kinds of fish, if they're fished, the stocks will just be depleted way faster. Oh, interesting! The priest is hidden down here in headquarters. The stocks will be depleted way faster than the animal's breeding cycle can actually keep up with. There's a lot of shark species that are like this. So I guess dragons are like that. Where's our army? We haven't actually... Did we talk to anyone yet? I don't know. Yeah, I think we already did. So we haven't had anyone new since last time we were out. Just saying hi to the whole gang. Yeah, so I think we'll kind of wrap up exploring the town, and then I'll save before we go in that building. And then... what this is? Because that's going to be... the battle, I would imagine. Oh, well, there's more to this town. Maybe there's a staircase inside here that, like, we can... Oh, this isn't the main building. A halberd, that's going to be for our knights, but I think it's only after they promote. See, I think we're getting to this transitional part in the game where the game kind of expects us to be promoting our units, because we're high enough level now that we could if we wanted to, yeah, see? So we're probably going to go through this phase where, like, some of our guys are a little... Diary of Blue's mother, this must be Blue's house. I found steps in the corner of the room. Blue made them. What? So Blue made that staircase? Blue, a baby dragon, can build a staircase. Blue is such a crybaby. He's not like the other dragons. For one thing, apparently the others are dead, so he's a bit different. Also, even though he's a baby, he can make this elaborate fort. It's Blue. Wow, his map sprite. Is he in disguise? Hey, go away. He's a baby dragon. Blue, we're your friend. The children of the other town are really worried. They don't want to fight, okay? Just go away. Oh, when I looked at his sprite from the front, it kind of looked like a helmeted soldier, but with wings. But from the side, it's a little more obvious he's just a dragon. Yeah, I see it now. Ooh, this person is our friend. He's here to help. How did you get here? I guess we defeated the army that was in her way. Stop shaking, you baby. He's literally a baby. Oh, Karen, you are so mean. This dragon is so great. He's so cute. I was worried about Blue, so I followed you. I really think he's hopeless. I'm disappointed in you, Blue. And then she just left. Help, help, Blue, Blue. That's Karen's voice. Oh, but he can be brave when his friend is in danger. Isn't he just the cutest character? He's a baby dragon. And now he's our pal. He will be weak at first. We need to train him up quite a lot. I don't remember what this does. It's some kind of healing item. I think it heals like the entire party. It's one of those things that's like mega elixirs and stuff where it's like, it's so good that you can't use it, but then you just have in your inventory the whole game. So let's save the game. Or I guess see this cutscene first. I think the battle is going to be in that building with the, if there is a battle instead of us just getting him in a cutscene. I thought there would be another battle, but I think whatever big thing happens next will be in that one building we can go in. Well, dragon, if you want to save this girl, open that shrine door. Blue, don't listen to him. Remember that you're a sacred dragon. How can he forget? He's literally a dragon. Karen, no! What are you gonna do about a crazy dragon? This guy has some guts, because look at his sprite. He's the one of the rune knights from like the beginning battles of the game. This dragon could eat him alive. Blue spews fire. Arrgh! I mean, I'm just gonna say, life pro tip, don't taunt a dragon, because it could kill you easily. I'm not very confident yet, but I'll try my best. Blue, it's like, oh, I feel the same way in my life. Also, look at Blue's portrait. He has those little fins on the side. They kind of remind me of Nova's face, actually. He also has those weird little whiskers. Is Nova, like, half dragon, half some kind of mammal? Is that his deal? Blue joins the Shining Force. I'll be at headquarters. Okay, we're gonna go check him out in the party, of course. I'll return to Rudo. I have to tell everybody that Blue found his courage. Aww. The battle music is still going on, though. Oh. It's Kane. Are you gonna fight us? Remember me, Ben? Kane of Runefaust. Ready for your last fight? Go back to your... I was about to say, actually, no, can I go back to my headquarters? And then he was like, go back to your headquarters and get ready. Then you'll meet your doom. Kane, you are really bad at your job. This is about, what, the third or fourth time that we were right here, and you could have just killed us, and instead you were like, nope. The first time he was like, oh, you're not even important, I'm leaving. And then he was like, oh, my minions can be with you. And now he's all like, well, I'll at least give you a chance to save your game and swap party members out first. I don't want to be rude. He's not cut out for evil. I think he should try a different profession. And maybe if he took off his scary-ass helmet, he's actually like a super likable guy, you know? Who knows? Go back to your headquarters and get ready. I was gonna say, no, I'm actually not ready. I need to save the game. The main thing we need to do is go check out our new friend and add him to the party, which... This is going to be a painful decision because all of these guys are so great, but I'm leaning towards Kokichi because he's cool, but he just hasn't really been quite as strong as the others. And yeah, it's useful that he flies, but I'm pretty sure so does Blue. He's got wings anyway. And like, I want to keep a healer in the party. Xylo is too cool. The two birds are awesome. They're doing a lot of damage and they're useful flyers. I love having an archer in the party. Diane is cool. I love my two mages. Gunce is slow, so it's like maybe I could transition to using him only in maps that have difficult terrain. But he's just so cool! And like, I do like having a knight, and May is really cool, so it's like, oh, they're just all too cool. There he is. I like that he's sitting on a stool at the bar that is clearly not designed for a dragon. Just practicing my tail whip, still haven't gotten the hang of it. See, again, that makes me think Pokemon, where Tail Whip is a move that lowers defense. Oh, and now one more person moved to the bed, so it's Joker. Do you like my helmet? I still like his form. So I guess, like, the lesson here is that a lot of the members of the Shining Force don't like to sit next to other people, because there's definitely room for 2 more people to be at these tables, and those 2 are like, But honestly, I feel them. If I was in that group, I also would be off hiding in one of the other rooms. I'm not very sociable. Okay, Blue is going to join our party. Blue. Oh, he's level 9, so that's not so bad. I thought he might come at level 1 or something. He's another person who doesn't need a weapon, because, you know, he's just good attack with his dragon abilities. Where'd he go? There he is, Kokichi. And Kokichi's level 17, so it's not like he's falling behind. Actually, there is one more thing. Let's look at his stats. Then we'll just go talk to him and save the game, and that'll wrap up for this episode. I might do some grinding for the next one. So you can see that he doesn't start out too strong, and he can't wield a weapon is the other thing, just like Xylo and Domingo. No weapons for him. So he's not going to do very much damage at first. I'm probably going to give him that power ring just to help him out here at the beginning. His agility is really low, so it's going to be really hard to give him a turn. He doesn't have a lot of HP. His defenses are... They could be worse, but they're not good. So he's... And his move is not as super high as some of the like our flying characters and stuff. So like Domingo, you get him when he's level 1, but he's so easy to train. It's easy to just over-level him. He's so strong. Blue, and it's fitting for his character, right? He's a baby dragon. And he's a baby dragon who's scared of fighting, and this is sort of his first time actually going out into battle. So he's weak at first. He's not any good at it. We're going to have to work hard to train him up. But if we do, we'll be rewarded. And he does have a... I thought some of these peeps didn't promote... Domingo doesn't. But Xylo and Blue both do. They promote to, like... I think Xylo becomes a wolf baron and he just becomes a bigger dragon. I feel my ancestors watching me as I prepare for battle. I will make them proud. Aw, and you'll make us proud too, Blue, with a little help from your friends. Okay, so Amon, I'm gonna be sad to lose the power ring on her because it was making her hit like a truck. And having a flying character who can hit really hard is great. But Blue needs some more right now. He eventually will very much not need it. He will get ridiculous. But for now, you know, it's 4 points of attack, so he's still behind most of our guys. Like, for comparison, Silas are level 17, but, you know, he's another character who... Oh, right, he can't be equipped, so I can't look at him. Who cannot use equipment. So, you know, it's a good comparison for the raw attack. And he has 35 attack. Blue has 23 without the ring. So it's going to be very tough for him to deal damage at first. That's part of the reason so much used to Train Up Domingo is the spells deal fixed damage. So even when he's low level, you know, if you get an enemy down to like below 7, you know, honestly Freeze does more, so like it can deal about 10 damage. So it's not that hard to get enemies into the range where he can kill them. Blue is a melee attacker and his attack is super low, so at first it'll be hard for him to even deal 1 damage to a lot of stuff. So he needs a lot more babying and a lot more patience. But one day he is going to grow up and be strong. So it's, and I'll grind off camera with him. I realize it's like you could show how weak he is at first for the contrast, but there's nothing really to show other than like he doesn't do very much damage. There's not a lot to it. So, you know, let's at least check out the battle we're gonna do next time first, just a peek, and then we'll wrap. Oh, actually, I did not. Oh, I should have remembered that Kane said, "Go to your headquarters and then you'll meet your doom." He meant like literally as soon as you leave. I thought we'd have to go into that building. I knew you couldn't hide in there forever. Kane, it doesn't even have a door. You could have just come found us if you want. I'm getting the feeling he's not really feeling it here. You know, like he really wants to go home, but he can't like make any more excuses. He's like, "Do I really have to fight this battle? It's gonna take forever." Come on out, little hero. Ben, be careful. Remember that Kane killed Varios. Dude, Varios was like my mentor. Do you think I forgot watching him get murdered in front of me? Of course I remember. But yeah, seriously, look at Nova's face. Those little whiskery things on the side with pink between them. Again, I said this in like the first episode, but I do wonder whether the pink was meant to be the background color and it's just like an error in how the sprite is colored. Because then they'd just be whiskers and maybe he's like a cat dude. But as it is, they look like little fins, like what Blue has. Now, Nova all has hair, but Elliot did too, so maybe Nova is also... I was sort of assuming his face had fur on it, because we have so many other, like, dog people characters, but maybe that's just the shading on his brow. I thought it made it look fluffy, but it could just be the shading. Maybe he's a dragon person too. That's why he's, like, so wise, you know, he's a sage of old. It's not clear. Remember the Kane killed Varios? Yeah, I know, I was there, okay. We have tons, now that the golems have been introduced, we have a lot of them. We have more of our top level healers. It's funny, all the houses are available, but there's nothing to do in them. This building is kind of cool also. This is the dragon altar and it's filled with statues of dragons. And these, you know, past these doors obviously is plot. We've got 2 more Durahans rather. Oh, you know, the reason I thought they were Dullahan is because in Sword of Asia, it was translated as Dullahan. It's a Japanese game, so I assume maybe the translators were not sure whether it should be an R or an L. You know, they were like, it could be Durahan or Dullahan. I think it actually is supposed to be Dullahan because that's like a mythological figure. But that's just my guess. And here's, look at this too! You can tell again that this is quite an old game from back in the day when, you know, there wasn't a lot of money put into the translation of video games because it was a more niche industry, you know. And especially in the West, the market was pretty small at the time, so it wasn't like, there weren't teams of professional translators. It was often just people on the staff who happened to also speak English in the Japanese game department that made it. So that's why the translations are sometimes inconsistent. You can see here that Kane's name is spelled with C-A-I-N, whereas in all the rest of the text of the game it's been K-A-N-E. My guess would be that this is actually closer to the correct romanization of his Japanese name. Because that's how the name Kane in English is spelled, like Kane in the Bible. And I would also guess that's why it was changed elsewhere, because at the time, in the US, if there was going to be censorship of games, censorship of religious stuff was actually pretty common. That's why, like, in some games and RPGs, like, you'll notice that if you go into, like, the graveyard in the town in the RPG, sometimes all the crosses have been removed from the graves. Because a lot of JRPGs at the time are set in these sort of vaguely European medieval settings. And yeah, in that setting, I guess it's like, oh, crosses should go in the grave. It's just like an aesthetic thing. You know, Japan is not, there's not like a lot of Christians in Japan, so they're not putting the cross there for religious reasons. It's like, it'll look cool in our game. But in the US at the time, people were pretty sensitive about it, I guess, so a lot of that was removed. So I would guess his name was changed because they were like, that's weird. Either that, or they thought it would be easier for kids to pronounce. Who knows? Side note, this is not even the only character named Kane who has had his name changed from starting with a C to a K. In Final Fantasy IV, Kane in that game, although his is less of a change because his name is Kain, that also had a C originally. Maybe they just thought kids in the US were really stupid and would not realize it has a K sound if it's not a K. Who knows? Or, it's also true that in English, both the letter C and the letter K can make a K sound at the beginning of the word, but in Japanese, the characters that would make that sound are, the romanization of them usually has a K. Japanese does not, I mean, I say it's like it doesn't have the letter C, but it's like it doesn't have Western, like it doesn't have the Latin alphabet at all. It has its own syllabary, but in romanizations, the letter C is really only used in like the CH combination. So it's possible that in his Japanese name would have been romanized with a K, and this is like a more correct translation where they were like, oh, it's probably meant to be the English name Kane, and it just didn't carry over to the rest of the game. Who knows? Wow, I talked for like 5 minutes solid about this minor detail, but I just thought this was so interesting and kind of indicative of the place in gaming history when this game was made and translated. You know, I don't know, it's interesting to look back on because that's when I was gaming as a kid. So like a lot of games were like this, where there was all sorts of weird things like this because there were not a lot of professional translations being done. And, you know, they're sort of seen as a more minor part of making the game. Unlike now where they're, you know, you'd hire a team of people. Although controversies about translation still exist. There's always, among fans, the debate is endless. But, yeah, so that's interesting. Back to his actual character, you see that he's going to be really hard to defeat. He has a ton of defense, a ton of agility, a boatload of attack, more HP than we've seen on any other enemy. MP, even though he doesn't have magic, I don't know if maybe one of his items casts a spell and it costs MP? The Sword of Darkness, I'm guessing, has some sort of MP-based effect, because otherwise I don't know why on earth he would have MP. It doesn't make sense. Maybe, who knows? He also has 2 swords, so I don't know. But he has a Sword of Darkness. He's going to be really hard to kill. Really, really hard. But this battle is also not great for grinding, because these guys have ultra high defense, but like... Oh, we've got more gargoyles too. They'll be not too hard to kill, I guess. So, you know, the grind has to start somewhere, so I'm thinking next time. I'm just gonna quickly shuffle through everyone's turns until we get to Ben and Egress. I just wanted to at least peek at the battle map before next time. Whoa, this is really interesting too. For the most part, the other boss enemies we fought, they sometimes move at the start of the map, but they mostly move to get to the spot, like, they'll move up to get into a position that they're gonna guard, like a defensive position. They mostly just, have sat there until the end of the game. Kane appears to be a moving boss. He left his little sanctuary and is approaching. But I will say that's definitely fitting for this fight, where he's been a major antagonist. He keeps showing up and not killing us. He defeated the main character's mentor. So having him, you know, like at this point you've grown to expect that the boss will just sit there until you're ready to fight him. So having him like actually approach you when he's like such a strong and dangerous enemy definitely adds a more epic feeling to having him as a boss. Oh, I will also say this is something I did not remember because I played this game so long ago. Like I remember Blue, but I don't remember this battle. When I was looking up stuff about the game, I learned a spoiler about Kane that we're gonna learn at the end of the battle, and I also learned another spoiler which apparently only exists in the Japanese version of the game. So like, it's not even in this game. But I'll mention it when we get there. So let's save the game. We've seen the, you know, our epic confrontation with Kane of Runefaust has finally come. We're gonna avenge our mentor. And I'll probably grind a little beforehand so that the rest of our party doesn't fall behind and Blue is ready. But the next episode we're gonna have this epic battle, which I anticipate I'm gonna die at least a couple times because it looks pretty tough. So get excited for that, and for us to finally defeat Kane and find out his secret. That's all next time on Shining Force. For now, goodbye Simone, goodbye viewers. Get excited to see the debut of our dragon on Shining Force.